No way. Look who Trump just kicked off the golf course. Part of the overwhelming vote for Trump during the 2016 election was his no political correctness manner. The way he says what he means and means what he says, if you will. That is what the American people have wanted and needed for many years, and we were finally able to come out of our silent majority status and back a man who is exactly like the rest of us. Trump also makes no apologies for being who and what he is, regardless of how many want to pretend to be so outrageously offended by his very existence, and that is definitely something we can back. In an added bonus, he also seems to love to take on the rich elitists who are daily losing their control of this country. They truly do not like him for that fact alone. When you are as rich as Trump and completely focused on making America great again, you truly don't care about other people with money trying to bribe you. Obama was quick to take in cash from anyone, and his presidency proved to be extremely profitable for him. The former community organizer moved out of the White House and into a multi-million-dollar estate on only a $400,000 per year president's salary. The game has completely changed with Trump in charge, like when he stuck it to one of his biggest and richest detractors. A pair who actually showed up to his golf course and tried to throw their weight around, until they got humiliated, of course. Despite their best efforts and wads of cash to detract him from his goal, he won anyway and then was given the opportunity to stick it to two men who led the charge against him. They made a big mistake when they decided to spend the afternoon at Trump's private golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, which has also been affectionately dubbed the Winter White House. Billionaire brothers, Charles and David Koch, who love amnesty and are big supporters of free trade, two things Trump is avidly against, strongly opposed Trump during the Republican primary season and refused to help him during the general election. They also happen to have a close friendship with Harry Hurt III. The man wrote a slanderous book about Trump in 1993 that brimmed with disgusting rape accusations towards his ex-wife, who came out and vehemently denied the ridiculous accusations and then endorsed Trump herself. According to Breitbart, Trump's gesture was another slight against the pro-amnesty, pro-free trade billionaire brothers Charles and David Koch, who opposed Trump during the Republican primary season and refused to help him during the general election. It also signals Trump will not necessarily play nice with the GOP political establishment and Beltway right. The Kochs swooped in during the Tea Party revolt in 2010, training amateur political activists and trying to channel populist energy against the Obama administration into supporting the Progressive Business Alliance that wanted more cheap labor and lesser sentences for drug traffickers, under the umbrella term of smaller government. But the grassroots army was not controllable, as one former Koch staffer lamented, and the Kochs appeared curiously unwilling to make any concessions to Americans who wanted populist, nationalist policies, and relief from the relentlessly eroding forces of mass immigration and globalization. A majority of voters, some of whom saw more demographic change take place in their communities than many countries saw in a millennia, want immigration slashed in half or reduced to zero. Trump captured that energy and it propelled him to the White House, much to the Kochs and their network's chagrin. The Kochs wanted candidates amenable to their will, and Trump didn't fit the bill. They considered him a distraction before he rocketed to first in the polls, and even toyed with the idea of spending tens of millions of dollars to attack him. Trump mocked the Kochs while on the campaign trail, calling their preferred candidates puppets enacting their donors' agenda. I guess their plan to partake in a little rest and relaxation was suddenly cut short when Trump found out they were there. In perfectly humiliating fashion, Trump instructed management to remove the pair from his property and told them they weren't welcome back, ever. Being escorted out was likely one of the most embarrassing moments for these billionaires in the presence of all those other rich people there enjoying their pricey memberships. Trump proved that their money isn't important to him, and no price can fix how stupid these two look after earning this karma when they went against their own party to protect the political establishment. It appears that sudden removal from ritzy golf resorts has become a theme since Trump took office, and the greatest part is that it all started with the former golfer-in-chief, Barack Obama, who also got the boot under the most satisfying circumstances for conservatives. The New York Post reported back in 2017. President Obama's clashes with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu may cost him a membership at an exclusive golf club, sources said. Obama is looking to join the elite Woodmont Country Club in Maryland once he becomes a private citizen. But members of the mostly Jewish club are at each other's throats over whether to accept the golf-loving president, with many saying he deserves to be snubbed for not blocking an anti-Israel vote at the United Nations, according to the sources. Obama's UN decision was followed by a speech by Secretary of State John Kerry that was seen by many in the Jewish community as hostile to Israel. In light of the votes at the UN and the Kerry speech and everything else, there's this major uproar with having him part of the club, and a significant portion of the club has opposed offering him membership, a source told the Post. Obama's complimentary membership in the club, which charges regular members an $80,000 initiation fee, would have begun after he leaves the White House on January 20, Inauguration Day. In addition to the steep initiation fee, members must cough up $9,673 in annual dues. Originally, this was supposed to be a backdoor thing to get this done and give him the membership, free of charge, and circumvent the rules, said a source. But now, with the UN thing, they are not in position or likely to do it, he added, saying the club is currently facing threats of potential lawsuits and litigation for breaching the bylaws to let Obama join. Democrats and Republicans in the club both oppose waiving normal procedures for the soon-to-be ex-president, a source said. While the club probably skews more Republican than the Jewish community as a whole, there are many prominent Democratic members, a number of whom supported Obama's campaigns. But they might not support him now. Can you imagine how angry I would be if I had paid $80,000 to have to look at this guy who has done more to damage Israel than any president in American history? An official in a Washington Jewish organization fumed to the Post. After the UN vote and attack on Israel, I think it probably hurts the club. If there is a club that excludes Jews, he would probably be more comfortable around those folks. Ironically, Woodmont was founded by the D.C. area Jewish community in 1913 precisely because Jews were banned at other clubs. Obama was looking to join the elite club as a private citizen, but he clearly forgot that all actions have consequences and no one has to accept him simply because he used to be the president. It was the perfect dose of karma for the arrogant man who spent more of his presidency on the golf course than he did actually trying to fix real issues. Keep giving these elites hell, President Trump.